Good afternoon, everybody, or evening, I guess now. My name is Kate Paul. Those of you who don't know me, I'm the town clerk here. So I've had the pleasure of swearing most of you into your different boards. Tracy and Amy, it's nice to meet you. And Tracy, I swear you in these too. So it's nice to see you. Tracy Sisti will be here for a short time. She has to go to a PTO meeting. But we'll go around the room, introduce yourselves, please, to everybody. And also, if you're here from like planning and zoning or whatever, just mention the committees that you serve on so that people know what you're bringing to the table. Okay, George, you want to start?
So my name is George Miller. I was on planning and zoning for a couple of years. I recently resigned because I'm now on the board of finance. Live in town.
Chris Capola, economic health.
Tracy Goodman, resident and business owner.
And Dragonfly.
Dragonfly.
Welcome. And
Ann Gamlin, I live at Percival Heights and I'm a resident. Commissioner.
Mayor, why don't you introduce yourself?
How you doing? Mayor Mark Kaczynski here. Nice to see everyone tonight. Thank you all for volunteering or me twisting some of your arms to volunteer, but no, appreciate everybody stepping up. It's an important issue. You know, we do have a relatively short time frame that the state has given us. So, but the good thing is we have a consultant, we have our town attorneys involved. So, you know, they'll be very helpful in moving this process forward, and ultimately it comes to recommendations and what you have, included will come to the council, and then we make that decision and send it to the state. I think it has to be there by June 1st or June 3rd.
June 1st.
June 1st to the state under the legislation. So thank you all again for volunteering and showing up. Appreciate it.
I'm Roshan Javed, I'm a town manager. Welcome everyone. Look forward to working with all of you. And we'll try to do most of the heavy lifting. When I say we, it's a royal we. People out there, Jeff and Jennifer will introduce themselves. So just want your input, participation, and also want to make sure that one thing, your contact information is accurate, because as the mayor said, we'll be moving very rapidly, and there'll be times that we need to get in touch with you. So let us know what's the best way to get in touch with you, because we got to keep the momentum going. Talk about June 1st, but a lot of things have to be, we'll have to complete by March timeframe, April, to finalize the direction that they go. More on that, but welcome. Nice to meet all of you.
I'm Amy Belgo, born and raised in Berlin, and I still live in Maryland, half of my parents, and I'm a realtor.
Rob Dombrowski, I live in Berlin, and I'm on the Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
Tracy, do you want to just introduce yourself and
Sure. Yeah, I'm Tracy Sisti, and I'm on the Board of Ed, and obviously I live here in Berlin.
thank you. And then Jim, do you want to introduce yourself as a liaison?
Sure, Jim Mahoney, Economic Development Coordinator, and I've been involved in various affordable housing projects in Berlin over the last 20 years.
Thanks, Jim. And Attorney D'Onofrio?
Hi, good evening. I'm Jeff D'Onofrio. I'm the town attorney for the town of Berlin.
And he's filling in today for Attorney Jennifer Coppola. So Jennifer will normally be your liaison, but Jeff is as well versed as Jennifer. Thank you.
Yeah, still kind of maybe for those of us that are hard of hearing, maybe like, yeah, it's okay.
I don't know how to
Yeah.
turn it up.
Okay.
I mean, my computer's up at high,
Yours.
but it's coming in from that system.
Yeah, I get it.
Coming from there.
No.
It's all coming from that laptop. Yeah. We'll just have to ask all of you to speak loudly. Louder.
Yeah. Thank you, Kate.
You're welcome. So now if we can just stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So as everybody went around the table, everyone is here at this point for the roll call. And now we will have the election of officers. I know this is going to be a tough thing, but we need to elect somebody as the committee chair, the vice chair, and the secretary. I don't know if anybody would love to step up.
Done all race at once. What's that? Oh, Jordan.
Let's do this. Attorney Denafio, could you just explain what would be required of the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary, please?
Sure. The chair runs the meeting, so the chair is responsible for opening, calling the meeting to order, and taking the committee through the agenda, making sure that the agenda items are followed, and basically moving discussion along with respect to each agenda item, calling for a motion, a second, a vote. And the vice chair really only acts in place of the chair when the chair is absent. So the chair's responsibilities are pretty basic. The secretary's responsibility is simply to keep the minutes of the meeting. And the minutes of the meeting are not intended to be a transcript of the meeting. The minutes of the meeting are intended to reflect official action that's taken at the meeting. So when a motion is made, who made the motion, what the motion was, when a second is made, who made the second, and then record the vote, record the official action of the public agency. The committee is subject to the Connecticut Freedom of Information Act. So the meetings are public and the minutes of the meeting are public record. But like I said, the minutes are not required to be, nor are they intended to be a transcript of the meeting. Typical minutes will reflect, the time that the meeting was called to order. And as I indicated, motions, seconds, votes, and adjournment. Beyond that, it really comes down to whether any individual members of the committee want something specifically noted in the minutes with respect to, say, a discussion item. If you received correspondence from the public and you wanted to reflect that in your meeting, you would simply identify the correspondence with a general idea of what it was, and that would be reflected in the minutes. So chair runs the meeting. The vice chair is only needed if the chair is absent, and the secretary records the minutes of the meeting in the format that I just articulated.
Okay, so based upon that explanation, would anybody like to step up as chair?
Can I ask a couple questions?
You may.
How often do you plan on meeting? Do we have a tentative agenda? My concern is I am on the Board of Finance. This runs through some pretty heavy Board of Finance requirement. When we put the budget together, that was I told you I didn't have a lot of bandwidth. That was why I said I didn't have a lot of bandwidth. And second, who is putting the agendas together?
You want me to respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't see us meeting more than twice a month. So that's probably what I'm finding, because like you, one of the other folks too are serving on other boards and commissions. And also there are so many other things going on at the same time. That's question one. With the second one is Jennifer Capola, who's a corporation counsel. She works with tons of other towns on affordable housing plans, and she's not feeling too hot today, but she would be the one putting the draft agendas and planning the meetings and doing a lot of the work with the help of Jim Mahoney and myself. So, but Jennifer will take the lead because she's more, she's got the subject matter expertise with her. So that will be the person, she will be the one that working with the chair to make sure, draft agenda, send it to you, get your blessing, submit. All that will be done by staff. George, I think you want to be the chair.
I don't have a problem doing it as long as people understand that there may be a couple periods, like when's the heavy lifting, like April,
Yeah, March
and
and
April.
March, probably.
Yeah, but depending upon the schedule of that, I may not be able to attend.
Yeah.
So I need a good vice chair though.
Vice chair.
And I think that's something to now, I think you're fully right, because Board of Finance, their busy time will be about that period. Coming together like that.
Yeah.
But you can be flexible about your meeting.
Well, I can't promise it'd be a good vice chair, but it'd be.
You'll be
I
a
just don't want to be
wonderful
secretary.
vice.
Oh, it'd be great.
Two, got one.
Need one more.
Yeah.
Almost there.
So do I hear a nomination for chair? It helps if you guys say George.
I nominate George for chair.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? I call nominations closed. All in favor of having George Miller as the chair of the Affordable Housing Commission? Yes, all in favor? Aye. We'll move right along on the second one, and on the vice chair,
I'll nominate Rob Dombrowski.
is there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All in favor of having Rob as the vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now for secretary. I will say that, number one, Attorney Polo will help you. And if there's ever, I'm not part of this, I'm here because of the formation, but I'm happy to help in any way. All right, so if somebody would like to at least try to be the secretary. and then-
I could do secretary. I've done it for the other organizations. The only thing is my style is sort of loose. And it sounds like you're going to be operating by the board of the rules of order.
Yeah.
And so I would have to, the whole thing with secretary is it's not hard. It's just more, she just know what was done. I have to take the order.
Okay, yep.
So I could use it for that. And that helps a lot because then you don't have to copy and say, well, what did this person say about whatever. So I guess I'll do that.
So I would nominate
It's
Ann
summer,
for
right?
secretary.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
It's over relatively quickly.
Right, and you have a computer at home?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so also these are all on YouTube. So if you, and I can always show you how to do that, but I can also, we'll work with whoever is going to be here to make sure you have a recorder. Okay, all right, so. Do I hear nominations for secretary?
I'd like to nominate Ann for secretary.
I
second.
Just don't anybody tell me family that I said I'd do this.
We'll tell me
Keep it
before
on
she
never
into it.
find out.
Before she into it.
Is there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Nominations are now closed. All in favor of having Ann as the secretary, please say aye.
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 Okay. Chair, I will turn the meeting over to you.
I was kidding. See, George, we're already on number 4. Look at how
We're on
fast.
number 4, so
Look
I
how
don't
fast
even
it
know
went.
who's doing the overview. of
So it's
statutory
going to
regulation.
be Corporation Council.
Okay, I'll turn that over to you, please.
Sure. So we start with a brief discussion of why we need to have a committee. The legislature in 2017 enacted Connecticut General Statute 8-30J. And 8-30J requires every municipality in the state, with no exceptions, to prepare and adopt an affordable housing plan. The deadline for each municipality to submit the first plan to the state is, as Arosh and Mark indicated, June 1st of 2022. The other, it's a pretty short statute, but the other significant provision in 8-30J, other than providing that municipalities can hold public informational meetings or other activities to inform residents about the process of preparing the plan, is that if the town holds a public hearing at least 35 days prior to the public hearing on the adoption of the plan, the town has to file the draft plan and any amendments to the plan with the town clerk's office and post it on the town website. So as was indicated, you're working with a relatively short time frame. So the draft affordable housing plan that you develop will go to the town council for its review and be the subject of the statutorily required public hearing. My understanding is that you had prepared for you, committee members, a binder that includes a copy of the guidebook that was published by primarily the Connecticut Department of Housing. And in that guidebook, there is a tremendous amount of guidance and really explanation as to how the committee will go about its business. The committee, as you all know, was created last Tuesday by resolution of the town council and charged with working with town staff and FHI, who's the town's outside consultant, to advise on and engage the public in the process of preparing a draft affordable housing plan. And the plan needs to be presented to the town council before May 1 of 2022. The council also, if you haven't seen the specific resolution, directed that the committee meet as necessary to fulfill its purpose and provide monthly status reports to the town council to update the council on the progress that you make as a committee. And you'll have the input not only from Jennifer and I, but also from Jim Mahoney, who has a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge and can really explain what Berlin has done over the years to develop and encourage affordable housing to the point where the town is not far off from the 10% statutory requirement. The committee really has the responsibility of spearheading the solicitation and development of information from residents in order to assess the town's housing needs as a whole, not just with respect to affordable housing, but as a whole. And the concept of affordable housing is based, when we talk about it for your purposes, is based on a legal definition. And that legal definition is also in Connecticut General Statute 8-30 in subsection G, 8-30G. And housing is deemed affordable in Connecticut as a matter of law if it is priced so that households which earn 80% or less of the area median income will not spend more than 30% of that income on housing. In addition, in order to qualify as affordable housing, the units must be restricted to sell or rent at those prices that I just indicated for 40 years or longer. Under the current statutory framework, once a municipality hits that 10% of its total housing stock as affordable, then the municipality gets out from under, if you will, the requirements of 8-30G, which place a very heavy burden on municipal planning and zoning commissions, which deny a development application submitted under 8-30G. In other words, you become exempt until such time as 10% of your housing stock is affordable as defined by the statute. You're subject to the parameters of 8-30G. Jim, like I said, has a much better historical perspective than probably any of us. And I know the mayor does as well with respect to what the town has done to encourage affordable housing. And if you look at the 2020 Affordable Housing Appeals List in your binder, you'll see that Berlin is at 9.24%. And Berlin, in fact, is one of only a few municipalities in Connecticut that has obtained 2 moratoria from the state as a result of its outstanding efforts in this regard. At the first public information meeting next week, you'll get a more detailed presentation of Berlin's excellent long-term record of supporting the development and construction of affordable housing. And the town's various affordable housing regulations will be discussed, as will multiple existing developments with affordable units and others, quite frankly, that are in the on-deck circle that have received approvals from Berlin's regulatory land use agencies and are awaiting construction. But an important first step for your purposes tonight is to, learn about affordable housing and your role in assisting the town, obviously, in preparing its plan. And one thing that you can do to really get up to speed on your charge is review the guidebook. The guidebook has some significant guidance. For example, on page 17 of the guidebook, there is a section entitled "What to Include in an Affordable Housing Plan." So you're going to want to pay special attention to that. And if you look at that, just to hit a few of the highlights, there's a recommendation that there be a community value statement, that there be a summary of the history of affordable housing in Berlin, that there be a housing needs assessment, which is really a critical piece of data that will be developed with the assistance of your consultant. And there's certainly a land use and zoning assessment component to it. And the recommendation is that you approach your analysis, you approach your review in a holistic way. In other words, a housing needs assessment should not focus solely on affordable housing. It should focus on all categories of housing in order to determine, based on housing supply, based on demographics, based on economic indicators, based on assessments of whether existing and projected housing will accommodate Berlin's current and future needs, a relationship, an analysis of the relationship between housing costs and access to housing in Berlin. So the guidebook is manageable. It's about 25 pages long. Some of it is fluff, but most of it is very helpful. And I think you'll find after you read it, if you haven't read it already, that it'll give you a level of comfort in terms of what you need to do to execute your charge as a committee. An important part of the process is a draft survey. And the idea behind the survey is to gather information from town residents regarding the residents' housing history and their current and future need. It'll provide information about affordable housing and the opportunities for the public to participate in the planning process. There'll be a draft survey provided and developed by you And some of the typical questions that you would expect in such a survey include asking residents what they think affordable housing is, and then providing them with a simple, easy to understand definition to help educate those who may not be familiar with the term affordable housing in the same way that the legislature defines it. Asking the residents whether they rent or own their current residence, what types of housing they've lived in historically. So you can have the resident be a little self-reflective and taking stock of all the different housing they themselves have lived in at various stages of their own lives. And this makes the need for affordable housing relatable to everyone. Asking a series of questions about residents' future housing needs, including the types of housing they may want to consider, whether they see themselves more desirous of renting or owning, whether they want to remain in Berlin, what percentage of their gross income do they think they currently spend on their residence, and similar questions. The first,
Attorney Donacio, Tracy, do you have to log off?
I do. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm so sorry. I do need to go. Are we talking about, I'm sorry, they don't have the agenda. Are we talking about future meetings by any chance tonight?
there's a first public informational meeting on December 15th at 7 o'clock in the town council chambers.
I will be there for that one. I have that on the schedule. Most of my, just to let you know, PTO meetings, except January, fall on the third Wednesday of every month. So just was letting you guys know that. I don't know if that'll be an issue or not. But that was it. And I'm so sorry I have to go, being president. I don't have a vice president this year, so I got to take care of it.
All right. Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
So as I indicated, you've got that first public informational meeting next a week from today at 7 o'clock in council chambers. Jennifer Capola had sketched out a time frame and an outline in terms of a suggested path for the committee. Following the public informational meeting, the distribution of the survey would occur in December. In January, you would focus on more data gathering from community groups and organizations, town departments, with an ideal survey completion date of January 15th and a deadline for a completion of the consultant's analysis of survey data of January 31st. Doesn't give them a lot of time, but I guess they think it's doable. February, you would start drafting plan sections on community values and the history of affordable housing in Berlin. And in your second meeting, you would turn your attention to the section of the plan on the housing needs assessment. And you'd be expected to have a second public informational meeting in February. In March, you'd focus on the sections of the plan pertaining to land use and zoning, plan principles and goals, and you'd start to implement and plan for the actions and implementation of the plan, and that would be your real focus. In April would be complete that portion of the plan, and by mid-April, forward a draft plan to the town council. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good broad brush idea of what it's going to be like serving on this committee. I think that, it's obviously a very important charge and a very important task. But like I said, Jennifer and I will be available. Jennifer's doing this with a couple other towns, so she's really been involved from the onset and has also a lot of experience with affordable housing appeals to the land use process and a really good handle on how to do this the right way. So I think in addition to Jim and Jennifer and RHI, I believe RHI also has a sub-consultant as well FHI, excuse me, RKG, I think is FHI's consultant. Is that right, Jim?
Correct.
Yeah, so they'll help with the data collection effort. And I think it'll be fun. I think you'll learn a lot about housing and housing needs and really relevant stuff for people to know about. And I think it'll give the public an opportunity to really get involved and weigh in on the plan. Any questions?
I have one question. So I wrote down, we must file 35 days prior and make available to the public via the town clerk. And we also need to present to the town council before May 1st. So that would put us in the middle of March, right? That we need to have it finalized by, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Well, it's gonna go to the town council and then the town council is gonna call the public hearing.
So what was the 35 days that we had to make it available to the?
The 35 days is the public hearing on the adoption of the plan.
Got it.
So it'll go to the town council. The town council will review it. The town council is satisfied with it, then they'll request that the public hearing be noticed for the adoption of the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Jen.
Yes.
I think for the benefit of the committee, I see a lot of folks trying to take notes here. What you just described, I'll work with Jennifer to put a timetable so that it's all on one sheet. All of you are working off the same thing. And it's really difficult to, when you're hearing this for the first time, listen and take notes and think of deadlines and all that. So we'll document it, put it nicely on one page, get it to everyone so that they're all working from the same document and actually concentrate on the work itself and not worry about when you're taking notes as to what they concern you. So,
Absolutely. Jennifer's already created the document.
yeah.
And as was indicated, I mean, we have the consultants to write the plan. And, Jennifer and I are working already with the consultants on the presentations and the background information. So we'll probably try to make that available to you sooner rather than later, and then kind of go through a piece of it at each meeting so that we can take it off in bites and have a chance to talk about any questions you might have.
So I guess it's a little overwhelming. I guess I don't have a good sense for the consultant here. So what to include in an affordable plan? Is it my understanding that the consultants are going to lead a lot of this effort? That our job is predominantly to review, ask questions, sign off on, not actually be down in the dirt doing this kind of stuff, because I don't have enough time during the day to do all this stuff.
Right. You're not expected to be in the weeds doing the data collection.
Okay.
You're expected to consider and discuss the information that's provided to you and decide what there'll be suggested provisions of the plan that are submitted to you for your consideration, discussion, and decision. But you're not expected to be the ones doing the data collection, not at all.
So I guess in terms of, discussion and selecting meeting dates, we need to have some understanding what the availability of the consultants are going to be and so forth, what their timing on certain deliverables are. I mean, we can figure out what dates don't work. I mean, what days don't work, as Tracy mentioned, I can't do the third Wednesday of the month, but beyond that, I think we'd have to work with Jennifer to sort of figure out how we liaison in with the consultants. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that having a initial discussion with the consultant so that they can provide you with a little better indication of what their scope of services is and what they're going to be doing. I think that probably makes sense.
I would just say that I think Jennifer and I will kind of work more closely with the committee, and I would expect the consultant, probably, we're not going to expect them to be at every meeting, and they'll be at a couple of meetings, particularly to make, an overall presentation. So, we'll manage the consultant side to make sure they keep up the pace with our schedule. And the other thing I would just mention is that this is, to a degree, also coordinated with the update of the town's plan of conservation and development. As George knows, because he's been involved already, is we're in process of updating our plan of conservation and development. It has to be completed by the summer of 2023. But we don't want to duplicate the work, so it's being combined with that process. And we might even possibly, like at an informational meeting, have a joint meeting with the Plan of Conservation and Development subcommittee of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Because you're to be making recommendations, and many of them will be to them as far as land use considerations and zoning considerations. So we're going to dovetail the processes.
Yeah, my subject, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I was going to say that, a lot of the scheduling will occur. Obviously, everyone's busy and people have other board and commission obligations, as we've heard tonight. So, if you could just make sure you check your email regularly so that if there's an attempt to schedule, we can do that in an efficient way and make sure that everybody's available, because we don't want to schedule meetings and not have a quorum and then lose a week or two.
Can you just quickly go over again, what is this December 15th meeting? Because I was not aware of it. I'm not even in the state that week, so was
I'm not here either.
the intent for us to attend that meeting? Is it going to be Zoom meeting and YouTube? Because I will not be able to attend that.
Yeah, there should be, Kate, correct me if I'm wrong, but there'll be a Zoom option for that, right? So you can watch it or listen to it.
Sure.
Well, it's a council meeting, it's all recorded, and anybody can join. And second one, it'll be recorded as well.
Well, this is the public informational meeting on the 15th.
Day after the council.
Right.
Yeah, that's on Wednesday.
Yeah, we can do it Zoom.
We can work something out.
We can do anything.
I won't be available to silent as long as that's
As
okay.
long as it's YouTube, I'm
Yeah,
not sure I
I'll
will
watch
either.
the replay.
Yeah. We can do
It's
it.
on replay.
But what is being presented again?
It's a public informational meeting to provide the public with information about the development of the plan. It's not a meeting of your committee.
I understand that. Who is presenting that information?
I don't know. Jim, do you know what the plan is for?
I think Jennifer was going to take the lead, and then, I'll coordinate with her, and I think that's the plan. So I can do parts of it, but I think Jennifer's planning on taking the lead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will the consultant be there too, Jim?
Not on the 15th.
So if the intent is to get all this information to the public as much as possible, we need to publicize this. Make sure people can join in either in person or via Zoom. So that needs to happen soon. I mean, can't keep it the best kept secret, right? So if it's a public information, the public needs to know this. Hey, what's the best way to get the message out?
I'm happy to talk to attorney, to Jennifer tomorrow and see if she has some kind of like a base of a legal notice We'll put it on the website, of course, and we can get it under a legal notice. And I don't know if we should put it in paper or not. It's very expensive, but I can talk to Jennifer about seeing if we could advertise it in the newspaper too. We can put it on Facebook.
Yeah, maybe the town's Facebook page, social media.
We'll put it on Facebook, on the website, and under our legal notices.
And we could do a press release.
Yeah, it's just that they're not great about doing any publication of the press release. That's what we'll try.
I mean,
Okay.
like, the citizen, they won't get in till after the meeting.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I mean, it's Thursday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you have any legal requirement or statutory requirements for a town meting to do it?
It's not a town meeting. It's a public informational session. It's not a meeting of a town agency. It's.
Actually, you might be able to, you can probably get it on the citizen website, Facebook page. They'll put it on like the beginning of the week. I'm sure if we get to them by the end of this week, I'm sure they'll put it on Monday or Tuesday on their website. Typically they do. Right, so.
I'll do whatever I can.
Yeah.
The actual town have a Facebook page?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can do that.
Put it on there too.
Put in the buzz.
Yeah, get it on the buzz, it'll get on.
It'll, Berlin Times, Berlin Times.
Yeah.
Question, Jeff, you might not know this, maybe Jennifer can respond. She's working on a draft survey. When do you think it will be ready for this committee to review and sign off? I ask because once that is ready, we need to get it out to the public for the survey. And I have some more information about that, but I want to know about the date itself.
Well, I think Jennifer was planning on, doing the draft survey definitely this week and maybe as soon as tomorrow. So we can distribute it to everybody. And I would suggest, Jeff describes the next meeting as a public information session, but I would suggest that we, also have an agenda item for discussion of the survey so that we can get any comments on the survey and finalize it. Because I think, as Jeff outlined in the schedule, our hope is to release the survey like as soon as possible. I've coordinated with the consultants. They are going to, we're going to give them a draft survey. They convert it, within a day to SurveyMonkey. They're going to create a QR code for the survey so we can put it in any social media. And so we can turn this around really quick once we have the survey approved. So I would hope that by, at the next meeting, we approve the survey.
All right, the reason why I ask is I reached out to the folks who send lovely tax bills to everyone. They have the capability to send a postcard, of course, we gotta pay for it. With the QR code, they'll go to all the households. That way you hit every house with it. So they go, those who can, with the QR code, get their survey completed, and it'll come into wherever the consultant, however he sets it up, he or she sets it up.
Is that gonna say comes from the town of Berlin?
Yes,
Or say it comes from the assessor's office, you're not gonna get a big response.
it's not, be the town of Berlin. Yeah, it's a survey.
We need to have a budget, things like that.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Save your cans.
We gotta add- we gotta send a collection.
Fill up a bottle.
Yeah.
Still rob the Boy Scouts, don't we?
Yeah.
Stop and shop,
You need
ask for
this
donations maybe from the public. They'll
I
donate.
need to drop
There
I'm collecting pajamas right now.
Yeah.
Which are you?
we go.
Yeah, I did talk to Jennifer this morning about the survey too. And, again, we'll make a decision as to whether we need the postcard or whether these other methods will be more
Alright.
effective in getting people actually to fill out the survey. That's the issue, you get out the word, but who's going to respond? And what, and I know I've talked to others that, Facebook is a good place to actually get responses.
That's the tricky part. You can't send the survey to all the households. They had about 8,000 records that they could send it to. So that's pretty darn good. But will they actually go in without the survey? We gotta create a buzz there so that, I'm sorry?
You have to know the demographic, who's going to return back, somebody's working 3 jobs.
Yes, yeah.
Traveling.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
have time
Well,
to
that
do
will
it.
be part of the survey.
And you can have a large swath of those professionals that don't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have another group that's engaged in those kind of things, it doesn't excuse the whole survey.
So I would think the survey would have some basic questions as to where I would probably do it. Broad category. Age.
It's all retirees.
Yeah.
Cross section of the community.
Yes.
Cross section.
I think that's the social media helps, because how many people in the morning with their coffee before work are on social media after work and clicking a button, bringing you right to that survey.
But there is a big demographic who's not on social
Oh, yeah.
media.
Yeah, well, that's what it goes for. So I think, yeah, come in.
Maybe all of it.
Well, I
Yeah.
think we probably need all of it
Yeah.
to get the biggest response possible,
Yeah.
that's what I would say. Otherwise, you're gonna get very low percentage revenue. Percentage possible.
If I may, Attorney Denazio, can you just talk a little bit about if this survey is going to be emailed to the commission, the committee, on how they should go back and forth on the email as far as having conversations?
Well, you really can't have any substantive conversation by email. You're a public agency. You're subject to the Freedom of Information Commission. So the only substantive communications, which means anything other than scheduling, the only place for substantive communications is in a duly noticed meeting of the committee. So you shouldn't be, texting each other and emailing each other and doing agency business by email, because the public can't participate in that email, and that makes it an illegal meeting.
So when you mentioned next Wednesday, that's not a meeting of the committee, right? That's just a public information meeting, so. that
Correct.
Survey, hopefully we get it to the committee members here as quick as possible, and after that public information meeting, you're gonna have a meeting, and I know the holidays are right after that, but as fast as possible to approve that, right? To approve that.
Yes.
Survey, so we can then get it out.
Correct.
What I was suggesting, Jeff, was that, given the time of year and everything, maybe if we could do it also next Wednesday, so either we have a meeting shortly before the public hearing or after, perhaps is the best thing to just to discuss the survey. Then the committee, we can get the survey finalized and get it out there, and then have the public information session.
I'm out of state.
The only thing, Jim, you got 2 people missing next Wednesday, unfortunately. So I don't know. To me, I'd rather have everybody, at least for that's an important part of the survey. I don't know if, are you guys back the following week?
Go back to 18.
Are you out
You got
that whole week?
the whole week or out? How about that? The following week, you guys are, I know it's.
We leave Monday.
Are you guys, would you be able to do it just, because that would be a very quick meeting, just to get just one agenda item, get the. If it's that following week, maybe the beginning of the week.
Please not on the 24th.
No. Yeah, no. Maybe Monday of the following week, if everyone's around, just one agenda item, look at the survey, you like it, you bless it, and then we can start getting it out.
That would be the 20th.
The 20th, okay, so if that's possible, I would just suggest you guys talk about it.
Is that bad?
I know I'm not available,
Okay.
assuming it would be the same time.
And maybe what we could do, Rob, is maybe to Jim's point, we get, you guys will all get a copy of the survey independently. So you can certainly respond, at least back that you reviewed it. But it's not a meeting to say you reviewed it and, you can relay to Word or board to Jennifer, really, that and here's what you think. So at least she can incorporate that in your meeting on the 20th, whoever can make it. at least we can get your comments included.
Right, you certainly can share your individual comments with Jim and Jennifer by email. They're not members of the committee, so there's no problem you're not circumventing FOIA by communicating to staff or to council. It's just, Kate's question was communicating with each other. And I think she wanted me to say what I said, which is that's a no-no when it comes to substantive communication. You can review the survey and you can communicate questions and comments directly to Jennifer and Jim and communicate back and forth with them as much as you want.
And so then if they do that, they'll have the survey, by the public information meeting, right? So then on that Monday, the 20th, they can, right, just take a vote and send it forward, right, to the consultant or whoever's gonna put that out on, to the public. Does that make sense, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess
Just to say that I think Jennifer's timeline was to get have an end date for the survey on the 15th of January and then an analysis by the end of January. So we were, I think, in my discussions with her, we were targeting to try to get it out, say the 15th of December, again, hearkening back to that if we approve it on the 20th, then
Right.
we're gonna send it out on Christmas and,
Yeah.
where are we?
All
And
right.
so I'm just, and, given Jeff's last point, which was everybody on the committee, whether you go to the meeting or not, next week, if you get the survey, you can send Jennifer and I comments and we can take that into account and pass those on and factor it in to the completion of the survey.
But doesn't the committee need to meet with a quorum and make a vote on that? Obviously.
I'm saying put it on the agenda, have a committee meeting on the 15th
Do we have a
for
quorum
the
that day?
forum
That is the
and
question.
approve it then. That's what my suggestion is.
Do we have a quorum for the 15th?
How many do we need for
Four.
four?
Four
people.
You need four.
How about Tracy?
Tracy said the third Wednesday of the month.
We have four.
Do we have four here present?
Well, let me ask you a question if I could. Is the committee comfortable in trusting the finalization of the survey to Jim and Jennifer? Because if you get the survey and each of you have the opportunity to send your questions in, do you have a need to see it, discuss it, and vote on it?
I guess I don't understand, Jeff, how we wouldn't have a meeting to vote on it if they're the committee approving it. Basically, and we just discussed, that we have four people that would be available on the 15th for a quick meeting before or after the public meeting to vote on it, right? If they get it sooner than that, they send their comments in to Jennifer or Jim, and those could be incorporated, and then on that, one item meeting, say, yes, we're gonna vote on it and send it to the consultants or Jennifer or you or Jim to get it out. I don't see how you could do that without a public meeting, right? And maybe I'm wrong.
Well, there's no legal requirement that a survey be approved by the committee. It's just a preference question.
Yeah, Jeff, I never, isn't that purpose now, that they're the ones that are kind of approving the, they're approving the survey. Jeff, they're approving it. I know you're preparing it, but they've got to approve it, right? Or no?
No, it's not a legal requirement.
Okay. It would seem like it would,
The survey is not a legal requirement.
okay.
Yeah, I would think a
Can I-
15-minute.
Ask a question, why would we not be comfortable? Like, is there potential legal ramifications of this somewhere down?
No,
the road?
I'm just asking the question because if it's not convenient or you can't get a quorum to have the meeting, as Jim and Mark are talking about, I just want you to be aware of the fact that there's not a legal requirement that the survey be approved by the committee. So if you can't,
However, we have a quorum, and if anybody who can't make it, we'll have the survey in advance, and they can email Jennifer and say they're okay with it. They have questions, Jennifer can bring it up at the meeting, the quorum can vote on it, and we can be good to go.
I think they have a quorum for the 15th. So we can accomplish that.
Can
Yeah.
I make a motion that the quorum votes on the survey on the 15th?
I don't even have to.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I think we're good, yeah. To me, that's just
Yeah.
more transparent, and that's what we're about. That's just, you know, it may not be legal, but
But you're getting the blessing of.
you're getting the blessing of why we put you folks here.
Yeah.
Right, that's.
So is it important to have Jennifer here to give context to meaning of the survey, what it's trying to accomplish?
Yeah,
And is she available?
well, she could, yeah, I mean, I believe she's available on the 15th. Jeff, do you think, is she available?
Well, she has COVID. She has COVID. That's why I'm here. So if she's recovered from COVID, she'll be with you.
If not, you will be?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm not putting you on the spot or anything, but no, so I think just so to George's point, we, you know, if questions on their meeting on the 15th, just to make sure. And of
Yep.
course, you're gonna get communications before that, right? Jim, I
Yep.
assume you're gonna
Yep.
get the communications on the survey work that you have done already.
Your meeting's at 7?
I don't know what time is that public,
7.
So we need to be done before that? Or no? No?
the public meeting?
Well, we could meet at earlier, right?
Okay.
You can meet, you
At
could, you could
6.
have your meeting at 6. Because the public meeting is just to get information out to the, or 6:30, whatever you want, but on the 15th. Yeah, no, so if
All right.
you have it on the 15th, let's say 6 PM, you have your quorum, you've had the information on the survey, you've got your comments back. Committee votes on it, done, and then the public meeting's at 7. Yeah, right, does that make sense, Jeff? Jim?
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, I think Jennifer spent a lot of time thinking
Go
about
ahead.
this, so
You're all good with it, Jeff, George?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
I think 6:30 would be fine, because Jennifer spent a lot of time thinking about this, just to save you a half an hour, but it's up to you.
I'm sorry, I just think
Yeah.
that's the purpose of them, you know, I just think it needs to be that way.
So as,
Right, yes.
you know, Jim said, you can meet at 6:30. You can start meetings later, you can't start them earlier. So if for some reason you do have some kind of conversation about the survey and you're 5 or 10 minutes late for the informational session, that's fine. But you can't say, well, it's 6:45, so let's start the informational session. You can't do that. All right, so especially because someone's thought has already been put into the survey and everything, and you have the ability to do it ahead of time. As Jim said, 6:30 is probably fine.
Perfect, there you go. Half hour later.
All right.
All right. So we'll have a meeting on Monday, on Wednesday, the 15th at 6:30. Everybody's good with that?
As long as the
You
quorum-
four years.
You won't be there, but you conceivably have the survey beforehand and ask any questions.
So the only thing could you get us information with regard to, I don't have any of them email addresses. So
Okay, so the email addresses are on the sheet. We're gonna update
No,
your,
I mean, Jennifer's,
okay, yes.
Jim's.
Yeah, and we'll be,
Yes.
Jennifer will be sending the survey, and, Jennifer or I will be sending the survey. I'll put, the other address on, and you can just respond to both of us. So, should be all set.
And what I've been thinking as to when that survey will go out, so that they have some idea.
I think Jennifer's got it done, so I'm hoping tomorrow.
I'm trying to avoid them getting the survey the day before.
Right. I have the survey already from FHI.
Yeah, when are you guys gonna see the survey? Right, even the committee members.
Today's Wednesday. Is it safe to say we can get it out by Friday? I hate to put Jennifer on the spot, she's not there. But I think we can. This way they got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to look at it.
I guess my comment would be, even if it's in draft form, send it
Yeah,
out
send it
now,
out.
it's in draft, mark it draft, and then if she finalizes it between now and then, send another copy out. The sooner we get something, I think the better off.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Sure.
We'll make it.
So you get something. Look at it.
Yeah. That's right. All right, are we good on this stuff? Any more discussion on this?
I think good.
And remember, you have, just so you know, you have the state legislature to blame for this, Donna, Representative Jean Donna, not her,
I'll talk to you.
not her fault, well, not her fault, but I mean, that's why we're the town, all the towns of Connecticut are tasked with this, so. we're not just us.
Just a note to Mark's comment, I had nothing to do with this. I voted against
I didn't even
most.
see you up there.
There you go.
Just an FYI, gentlemen and ladies, and thank you all for coming out and doing this tonight. I appreciate it. And if there's anything that I can do from a state level, questions, if I can, if I need to put it out there, I'd be more than happy to reach out to, the legislative people that work for me. Okay,
Thanks, Donna.
thank
All
you.
right. Anything further, Attorney D'Onofrio or Jim on this item before we close out?
No, thank you.
All set.
Okay. Moving on to item 5, I would argue that we hold off on any discussion of material until we've actually read it, because I haven't read any of it. Perhaps we can just go through this and find out if there are any dates that are universally bad for everybody. So if I can just go through the list, Amy, are there any particular days of the week that are, other than all of them, bad for you?
I prefer not Friday nights. That would be great not to do Friday.
That's
Chris? I
As long
mean,
as I have enough lead time, I can put it on the calendar, otherwise.
do you have standard meetings on any,
Just EDC first Mondays.
so first Monday is bad? That's what I meant to get at.
Try to put plan. So,
I should know, I do volunteer for a 4-H camp, and those meetings are the last week of the month, so if we can avoid.
The
They
whole
all
week? Oh,
Well, no, so one month they're Thursday, and then the next month they're Wednesday, so.
okay. Robert? And
January, I have the second Monday of,
Do you meet on, second Monday? Yeah.
yeah, it's the second Monday of the month. That's the only night meeting that I have, except Ladies Guild, and they're on Wednesdays. And they're only once a month too, that's the first Wednesday.
For me, the only thing I have is the third Monday of each month. And then in February, I'm gonna be away for a week or so for a wedding. Yeah. Well, the wedding's on the 19th, so kind of figure out what I'm going with, but in
so
that,
the week
area.
of that has the night.
yeah, which is the third week of the month.
In general, other than the third Wednesday for Tracy, do Wednesdays tend to work out okay? 'Cause I know council meetings are on Tuesdays, Board of Finances are on Tuesday, P and Z's on Thursday. Those seem to be-
Wednesdays are good.
Wednesdays are good. Right, except for the third. So I'm gonna work with Jen and you'll get us a better breakdown of what the timelines are gonna be.
Timelines,
And work with her. We'll get this meeting on the 15th and then we'll go from there. Any other discussion we need on this? Have a motion to adjourn,
I'll make that motion.
second, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Want to stay? Okay, we're good. Thank you.
No,
everyone.
thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Jim,
What do I
thank
need to do to get
Thanks,
a
folks.
ballot
Thank
of
you.
meeting on the
Guys,
15th?
thanks
Take care, be well.
Pledge of allegiance, review of,
I'll work with you. That's impressive.
you know, we gotta get that. Everything will go
I
through
wonder
me.
how long it's been.
She'll have to come to us to get approval for it though first.